Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari were back in the FIA's little office. Again. And this time, it wasn't because of a car failure or a crash. It was over a detail that most fans didn't even realize could trigger a penalty. A practice start at the wrong time, in the wrong place. But what might look like a minor technical infraction actually reveals something much bigger: the growing tension between veteran drivers and an FIA obsessed with micromanagement. Stick around, because I'm not just going to explain what really happened. I'll show you why this kind of ruling could become the norm going forward. And if you don't see it coming, you'll be left behind. Leave now, and you'll keep thinking this is just practice session drama. Stay, and you'll understand why even a simple practice start has become a minefield in modern F1. Yes, you read that right. Hamilton was summoned by the FIA for a practice start during FP2 in Japan. The issue? He overtook several cars in the pit lane while heading towards the designated practice start area. Something that, according to the FIA, violates both the race director's event notes in Article 12.2.1.I of the International Sporting Code. Here's the kicker. This happened during practice. No points on the line, no contact, no harm done. Still, both Hamilton and Ferrari received an official warning. Think about it. Red Bull is rotating drivers like it's playing Uno. McLaren are playing it hard with strategy. But the one who gets slapped on the wrist is the guy still adapting to a brand new team. And before someone says, rules are rules, fair enough. But then why doesn't the FIA apply them with the same intensity across the board? You either enforce them equally, or it becomes selective enforcement. And no, and this isn't a conspiracy theory. Just take a look at how often the name Hamilton shows up in FIA investigations since he signed with Ferrari. Coincidence? Only if you still believe FIA briefings are neutral. The regulation is clear and bureaucratic to the bone. According to the race director's notes, any car heading to the end of the pit lane before a session starts must queue in the order it arrived. No overtaking allowed. The FIA defines a car as being in the fast lane when all four tires have crossed the solid white line. From that point, you can only merge or exit if it's safe and doesn't block cars already in the lane. Now tell me, is this Formula One or the queue at the post office? Yes, Aston Martin were also summoned. Stroll did the same thing. Overtook cars after a red flag, lining up for a practice start. Result? Same warning, but far less fuss. Why? Because his surname isn't Hamilton, and the badge on his chest isn't Ferrari. Here's the part no one talks about. A warning is like a yellow card with delayed consequences. It doesn't change the session. It doesn't affect results, but it sets a precedent, which means the next time Hamilton does something even slightly similar, the book's already open. And we all know how precedents work with the FIA, right? They apply to some and magically disappear for others. Friday at Suzuka, and chaos took over. 4 red flags, grass fires, gusting winds, a destroyed car, and a rookie who paid a heavy price for a basic DRS mistake. But don't be fooled. This wasn't just practice. This was Formula One at its rawest. Blink and you missed it. Let's start with the crash that dominated the headlines. Alpine's Jack Doohan flew into turn 1 at over 250 kilometers per hour with the DRS wide open. The result? A heavy crash, a wrecked car, and a cold reminder that in Formula One, one small error puts you in the wall. Doohan didn't shut the DRS before the corner. Why? Because he lifted but didn't brake, and the system only closes automatically when the brakes are applied. So the rear wing stayed open, the car lost rear downforce, and the moment he turned the wheel, it was game over. And here's the kicker. This was only his second stint of the day. He didn't even drive in FP1. That session was handed to Japanese reserve Ryo Hirakawa. Was it a rookie mistake? Sure. But it's also the fault of a system that relies way too much on digital instincts. And in F1, innocence isn't forgiven, it's punished. Right after Doohan's crash, red flag. Then came Alonso spinning off into Degner 1. Another red flag. Moments later, The grass caught fire. Twice. Yes, seriously. Dry grass, thanks to the GP being moved to early spring, and sparks from the cars? Recipe for disaster. What was supposed to be a free practice session turned into a track evacuation drill. Only 7 minutes of running remained by the end. And even that was cut short. This wasn't a Japanese GP. This was F1 survival mode. Jack walked away unhurt. His car? Not so lucky. But the timing couldn't have been worse. The Australian is under pressure at Alpine, especially now that the team just signed Franco Colapinto as reserve. And here's the part no one's saying out loud. Colapinto brings big Latin American sponsorship money, real backing. And in F1, a crash like that, on a red flag day with grass fires everywhere, might just be the kind of headline a team uses to justify a quiet driver swap. Oscar Piastri set the fastest time, with Lando Norris right behind. Despite 13 degrees Celsius weather and winds strong enough to shred a front wing, McLaren dominated. Norris summed it up. It's tough. The wind changes everything here. But we're in a good place. If McLaren were already looking sharp, now they're the benchmark. Isaac Hadjar, P3 in the Racing Bulls. First time ever at Suzuka. This kid is delivering. Liam Lawson, just dropped by Red Bull, but clocked the 5th fastest time. That's a message. You benched me too soon. Lewis Hamilton, 4th in the Ferrari, said he's getting more comfortable every weekend. And it shows. The man's sharpening the blade. Russell and Leclerc, both in the top 7. Clean, consistent, under control. Verstappen, down in 8th, complaining of understeer, saying nothing's clicking. And when Max isn't comfortable, the championship gets interesting. Yuki Tsunoda impressed in FP1 after stepping up to Red Bull. But FP2, 18th. He said he needs more confidence, that the car felt very different from the sim. And let's be honest, if there's one team where you don't get time to build confidence, it's Red Bull. Do you think Doohan paid too high a price for a DRS mistake? Or was the crash just the trigger for a driver change that was already in motion behind the scenes? If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, because this kind of raw, no fluff, no fear analysis, you'll only find it here at Paddock Insider. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Because in Formula One, a reserve driver can become a race driver in a matter of hours, and you'll want to understand the real reason why. Here, we don't worship team badges. We break the game down as it really is. If that's how you see F1, then welcome to the paddock. See you in the next video, and don't forget to hit that DRS button at the right moment.